Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Feeding the Curious Mind. My name's John Pullen and I'm an author of fiction and non-fiction books. This is an interesting one and please stay with me until I explain it. But it's about human toilets. Now, today there's a lot of talk about public conveniences being closed down because councils can't afford to run them. In the Victorian era, public conveniences were quite massive affairs with marble fittings and what have you. A few still exist. I personally know of one in Cardiff in South Wales, which has been going for probably 120, 130 years or more. However, when people wanted to use a toilet before there were such things as public conveniences, they had a couple of choices. If they were home, then quite often there would be a bucket, and when it was full or had been used, it quite often could have been thrown out of the window, the contents. So therefore walking down the street could be a very hazardous thing. If not, a lot of these buckets were chucked into the closest river. And in London, rivers such as the Fleet River, which fed the Thames, was clogged up soon after the Romans had left. So, in fact, the Fleet River now only runs underground. And so, what could be done? Well, the worst thing was that you'd be caught out in the middle of the street. What could you do? And it was much worse for women. And they were the ones that complained the loudest, and understandably so. And a solution was found. And this was the human toilet. How it worked was this. If you needed to go to the toilet, you looked for a man standing with a big cloak. You went up to him and you gave him a farthing, which is about a quarter of an old British penny, which makes it probably 7 to the new penny these days. So very cheap, but it was a long time ago. You went inside the cloak and the man would cover you with the cloak, wrap it around you. Inside was a bucket. Big surprise there. You used the bucket as you needed to, and then you climbed out of the cloak and went on your way. What happened to the contents in the bucket? As far as we know, I'm afraid, yes, they ended up in the nearest river. We don't know the names of any of these human toilets, except for one. A Mr. Thomas Butcher. Now, legend has it that the phrase spend a penny, which is means going to the toilet, came about through him. He noticed that if some people were desperate, he would increase his prices, not a farthing, but maybe a penny. And he was taken to court and fined. And that's how we know of the only human toilet which we can name as being Mr. Thomas Butcher of Cheapside.